Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to another video. This is actually a GvG I did earlier today, so we're just going to go over it, talk about what happened. Spoiler alert, it was actually a loss, and it was a pretty annoying loss, honestly, because we definitely could have won it. Just to talk about team comp right now, at the moment we have a Stafford balanced tank running the typical sort of Hellion Druid shoes, I believe, or maybe swap shoes. I was running Demonic, I was actually running Grudge and the Cultist helmet. We have Sita there running the Hunter Jacket Haste, sort of glaive build, Druid Cow crossbow, and then the one hand holy. And then they had a fire, Stafford balance, bear paws, curse, and healer, and holy. So all in all, nothing too weird on either of these comps. Actually, the worst thing is me running Grudge. It's a bit of a weird one. I put it on Setter immediately. Now look at this sort of fight at the moment. Their backline's completely isolated. Now we could hit their backline, but we have a very, very sort of high sustained damage comp. Now what's high sustained damage good for killing? It's good for killing frontliners. Why? Because they're very, very deep, so you can keep the sustained damage on them. It's not good for killing backliners because they typically have the ability to get out or to use defensives that allows them to get topped up. You need burst to kill backliners. You need sustained damage to kill frontliners. So let's keep watching this fight a sec. I have actually muted comms at the moment. Now, look at this, right? So already, Sita has Grudge on him still. I put a Demonic on the choke whip point, which forced all of the casters back. So Acton, the axe, has already burnt quite a lot. You can see Zotes at the moment burning his Sunder into Acton, who we're not going to be hitting. And I immediately turn around and start hitting the tank. Why? Because the tank's very out of position. I throw a poison, and he has to burn. He's already half health, he's got 4 stacks, he's got poison, and he's got some Grudge stacks. His health is going to be melting right now. Let's just watch his health. Down to a K, down to 900, 700. That's purely from my damage. The damage I put out on him is insane there. So we win the first fight really, really well. Now, let's look at this, right? We talked about formation in the GvG yesterday. So I haven't got enough damage, enough range to poke someone down this choke without overextending. And that's not what I want to do as a curse. So what we do in a minute is, as you can see, Zotes is actually capping, probably the bad thing. Honestly, we wanted Setter to be the one capping, and Zotes sits really far back. And I'm telling him, you need to push up a little bit more. And in a minute, I go to the other side, and he swaps across, so that we actually get a better position in terms of the ability to poke them before a fight. Because they have that fire, they're going to be looking for the poke. As you can see, the fire's playing a little bit far back at the moment. He's just not quite ready. And there he comes. He comes in, he starts getting some poke, I walk away. Zotes is actually quite far up, but all of them were pushed to the right side. And I'm saying, swap sides, you can actually get some poke off. First time, he swaps sides, hits a Q. Easy game. Second one, almost hits a Q. Now the tank starts pushing up. Now I start building stacks on the axe. Axe immediately walks away. Start building the stacks on the tank. Tank's really, really deep at the moment. Burnt cartwheels, and the bear paws goes in. Gets a nice fling. I put Grudge up, and we should punish the axe off this. Demonic comes out, the poison pot comes out from the crossbow, and we could do so much damage here. He actually gets out, but they had to burn everything to save them. Now, we've got all 4 here. We have a Hellion hood here and no tank. Where does that tell me that the tank is? He's in that Hellion hood. They're all pushed away. They're all pressured. We've got 1 that's very, very low health and 2 that are on 2/3 health. Which means we can turn on this tank in here as soon as he comes out. Now I'm calling for it. Now look where the glaive is. He gigged. Completely unnecessary. We had a stun run on a tank as well. And he does get the fling onto the axe, and it just burns a counter Gigantify. Honestly, neither Gigantifies were needed, or neither were worth it. Whereas look at the tank. Again, 40% health. We could have punished this tank so hard and maybe even secured a kill with the Sunder there. The sweeping bolt was used, just delayed the fight out. Actually not a bad sweeping bolt. Now they're all quite stacked here. I go back over to the right side. This is a bit of a positional mistake for me. I should be away to stop this getting caught. And we do actually get caught a couple of times in this GvG. Again, I return back over to my left side. Zotes is on his right and can get that poke off. Tank comes in again. Now, I haven't used my Cultist hood in this, so as you can see, my Cultist hood's still on cooldown. I could actually be burning it on the tank every time, which would have put so much more kill pressure, but honestly, I'm just not used to using the ability. Used to using Fiend and purging something important, or used to using Druid Cow. Just wasn't quite used to using Cultist, so I didn't really make the most of it. Bear Paws has jumped in, already got that Grudge on the glaive. So he's going to be put some nice damage onto the axe here. I poison pot, get a nice fling. The Inferno Shield comes out, but my Demonic is there, so he has to roll into my Demonic and block. Now look at the tank here. Tank has the Stafford balance, rocks up. We can start punishing this. He Hellions just to try and play safe. Zotes is actually in a little bit of a bad spot. Again, I was kind of just used to playing on this right-hand side and didn't really play this correctly. The curse came in Curse came in a little bit too far there and did roll out. Let's see if we can find where we were at there. There we go. So the Curse rolls out. A little bit of a mistake. He didn't come in. He came in a bit too far. We poison potted, completely unnecessary. Didn't really communicate around these flings very well because the fling into the Sunder poison pot here would have melted this axe and potentially been a very, very easy kill. Now the Hellion Hood came down from our tank and it was beautiful. Honestly, very, very clean kill onto that axe there. The swap comes out onto the crossbow. He gets knocked by the wind wall. Very nice everlasting. And at this point, we can just start running these down. We run down, very nice cartwheel into the firewall, and actually it probably saves them. I realise about now, not going to get any kills. Walk away, go get the cap. So I roll out, get the cap, and this is where we start to get a little bit greedy. Now we could easily hold this. Let's look at our health here. Our glaive, pretty low energy, and had taken some hits on the health. And Zotes, which is our crossbow, had some energy drop. Now I can see the tank coming immediately for me. I told them just keep pressuring. They really didn't do that. They kind of gave up their lead. At this point, we've already got a 3 cap, which is really, really nice. I put Grudge onto the crossbow, onto the glaive, sorry. So just see what happened there, honestly, because it was so quick. Tank comes in, right? So I've immediately put 2 stacks, Poison Pot, Cultist, and Tank can't do anything at this point. I put Demonic down, he's had to burn his runic rocks, can't get healed right now, and just melts. He gets exploded. Now, we should have seen how quickly that tank can die, and punished it so easily. Zotes actually gets very, very low here to the fire. We called out that we could actually punish this fire because he hadn't used his roll at that point. We could fling him back, and that's probably a very easy kill onto the fire. Instead, they chose to keep running other people down. The axe is fairly low, but honestly, there's only one person getting low. We weren't going to be able to do too much, so we just walk away. Now, at this point, the tank died long enough ago that he's probably respawned on full health, full energy. And the rest of them are now regenning. We weren't. So we ran round, we looted bodies, we didn't come up to this middle platform very quickly, we didn't drop a druid cow, and all of our team is very, very low energy, very low health. You see them coming out now, the tank is full health, full energy, next one's coming out, 80% health, 90% health, very, very easy. These guys have a hell of an advantage on us now if they took a fight. They go down to the bottom cap, and 10 seconds left, I say we can interrupt them on this, easy game, and we're going to get another tick. So I go down, realise that they're not going to get it, come back up, we don't need to push it. Start getting into positions, I tell Zotes to go onto the better side so he can poke down. And again, we go for the same situation again. 69, so 149 to 69 at this point. We have a hell of a lead. We just have to play safe. Looking at that there, we've only secured 2 kills, 1 on the tank, 1 on the axe. So there's no one we can really pressure to be out of sets at this point. Tank has a swap to, so this is important to note, is that no one even communicated that the tank had swapped. No one inspected, that includes myself, no one inspected, so we didn't know what he was running at this point. And all of their team follow up on that engage. Now, we actually catch them really nicely, the axe in a lot of trouble. Now, let's just look at this split damage, right? About here. So I see the tank. So at this point, the axe is already in the choke point, which means if he wants to get away, he can roll out at any point. The tank is already engaged heavily in. I pop the Grudge onto the glaive. He could easily turn onto this hammer here, but just hasn't at this point. I throw a poison pot as well. I actually double stack poison pots, which is really bad. He pops a resist. We can still punish this tank. I've still got Cultist helmet, and look at his health. He's so low right now that we could get a very, very easy kill. If the glaive had turned on him then, we would have 100% killed him. I do truly believe it. Axe stayed deep with the Gigantify. Good play. We fling the healer, but the healer wasn't able to give anything because he'd already used that Everlasting. And at this point, we've had to burn so much into this fight. I'm mispositioned again. I should be over to the left side rather than the right. And he allows him to get a 2-man stun on 2 of our biggest DPS. Now, Seta did manage to get Grudge before that. I put some damage onto the axe and the tank again. Now, we now realise that the tank's running sleep. And look at the tank right now. He's so low. We can burn him so easily, but our tank is getting focused as well. The tank actually drops to less than 100 health there through dots. Doesn't quite go down, and the axe is in a bad spot. Wasted wind wall. I put Grudge out. But at this point, I've had to burn so much and stay in so deep to get that pressure that it's really not a good spot. Again, I go to stack up with a crossbow, kind of move out of the way just in time, which is good. But at this point, our tank has 20% health. Our glaive has 40-50%, I have 50%, and our crossbow has 60%. So not really playing ideally at this point, and we're not definitely not taking a good fight. I pop Everlasting, it actually triggers on the Armor Pierce, so I immune the Pyro. Very, very nice there. And the crossbow does go down. The Bear Paws interrupted with a fling, which was beautiful, honestly. And I go way too deep here. So we're already a man down. They have no energy, and they are quite pressured, but so are we. And we have no sustain through the Druid Cow. So what we should have done is just dip a lot earlier. That's kind of my fault as well. Glaive gets caught and just 100% pressured, goes back in for some reason again. And we just keep trying to poke, just trying to give him some pressure to come out. He goes in and stabs again. He could have come out a lot sooner, which means we could have recovered. We do get the tick over anyway, and now it's 144 to 49. We have almost a 100-point lead recovery to this. Now, what I'm saying is, we have our crossbow. He's back. He has the Druid Cow. What we could do now is if the healer was just using his heal on cooldown on people, by the time we got to this sort of point, everybody would be 80% plus. He can drop the Druid Cow early in the fight or even at the start of the fight, and the healer would have enough energy to take the fight. Didn't happen. Everybody ran to tent. They just didn't know what to do, and this is where inexperience comes in a little bit, unfortunately. So we start running out. I get the cap. If they'd have seen us at this health, and they do kind of see us, they should have punished us. And this is the start of it going down. So I get the cap. As you can see, people starting to get topped off. Duende should be next, and Seta after that. So Zotes goes in to start poking. Not a bad move, honestly. We've got 15 seconds. We're not going to get this cap. We know it. We don't have to push anything too hard, but we do need to make something happen pretty quickly. And we go back to our old positions. Zotes on the right, me on the left. Duende stood at the top. And Seta kind of just a little bit too engaged, but it's not a bad spot for him to be in as a glaive. And so you saw what happened there, right? Just look on the fire right there. That's the Sunder into the sweeping bolt, completely wasted. We have no pressure now. We have no burst pressure at all. So at this point, we just have to wait. But Duende and Seta go in, the Armor Pierce comes down, hits only once, so it's a good time for it to happen. I push up again a little bit, and they burn Firewall. Now, as you can see, I'm stacked on Zotes again, and this is really bad, because he can get a very, very easy stun onto two of us, which does shut down a lot of our damage. Seta stays in quite deep, 3 of us get hit by the Bear Paws, and that's actually quite a lot of pressure. Throw a poison onto the onto the axe, just to keep some extra pressure out. We spread on the choke point, so only one of us gets hit by the stun, and that was really nice. Zotes is so deep right now. As a crossbow, you never need to be that deep. The fire got low, and at this point, we were shouting about who we should be focusing. So if you actually look at this point, the fire is 40% health, just pops his gigantic fight. Zotes has already used his Everlasting Spirit. We got a grudge out on the glaive. Now at this point, the axe has already burnt his Inferno Shield as well, and it's got about half duration. Now who do we go for? The answer is we should actually go for one of the frontliners, one of the axe or the fire. Why? Because he still has a firewall, he still has roll, he's got enough to get out. He does drop Druid Cowl, and we could have punished that further, but we argued, and this is the biggest point. If there's a call made, you just got to roll with it, unfortunately. Even if it's the wrong call, you just got to roll with it, because you can do a lot more. Now, we do turn and get a kill onto the tank, but we lose our tank as well. I actually tried to loot his Staff of Balance because I didn't know how many sets he had. And unfortunately, we do get punished for this super hard. Not just for the looting, but just in total, we get punished. I get heal. We're going to Everlasting the Pyro. And again, we took a pretty bad fight there. So what we needed to do is if we'd have hit one person earlier in that fight, we would have killed their tank before they killed us. Very, very easy. And I don't think we'd have had any issue. But that's not what happened. And again, we argued on who we should be hitting. I go out again with 60-70% health. I should have waited this time because honestly we just needed to go out as a full team. They actually came down and played aggressive, which wasn't ideal. I dismount here so we can try and get topped up. But again, they defended long enough that we couldn't get the point. It was a smart play by them. So we start getting the cap and we get into positions. Healer gets a couple of ticks on the Druid Cowl. This is what I wanted to happen last time. Didn't unfortunately happen. So we're now down to 93-43, which is a really big turn. Bear in mind we were over 100 lead. Now 52 seconds till the next tick over, and our tank is just spinning in circles right now. He needs to actually go in and put pressure now. He could go in, swap the curse, swap the fire. Look at the fire here. He's already burnt his firewall. He played very, very aggressive, and we could have really punished that. They burnt the firewall though, so after that we can definitely make it engage. They also hit an armor pierce, which would have been a bad time for us to engage. That's a 3-man stun there from their tank. Very well played, bad positioning from me. Rolled into the Druid Shoes, not ideal. Setter goes super deep here without my Grudge. So at this point, he's only doing his damage, and it's just not enough for him to go that deep. I get slept here on the choke point, unfortunately. Get kind of left to just sit there and sleep. They really good discipline from them on not breaking it. Again, Zote's trying to put some pressure. The Pyro comes out. He does manage to Everlasting Spirit here. I can't hit him at all from there, which just shows the short range of Curse. And we start going for another fight, but we've missed another tick. I put the Grudge out onto Setter again. He could be going super ham. They only hit 2 with the Bear Paws. I managed to miss a stun from Karma, and this is what I'm saying. The tank is so expended. He's already burnt his potion, and he's still trying to go in with his roll. But again, we're just not hitting the right people. We had Setter that was up deep. We had Zotes, which was trying to poke. And I actually got 70% of the damage onto that tank there. Be it through Grudge or be it through the 4 stacks in the poison pot. Unfortunately, it just happens. They managed to kill Setter. Zotes just stands there and tanks the Pyroblast. I tried to put Grudge on the glaive. Unfortunately, obviously it didn't work. Realised I put it on myself and just be like, yeah, this fight's lost. I walked away. And at that point, Zotes is out of sets. That was actually 3 deaths for him. Really nice discipline from the enemy team on punishing that. Honestly, when they stuck to that Great Hammer, they played well. We played bad in positioning. That's myself included. And yeah, so you do actually see the kill board just then. Let's see if we can get it back up again. And we'll talk through sort of what we should have been looking at in this fight. So, as you can see, me, 3 kills, 0 deaths, 1 assist. Did a lot of damage. Fairly low iron power, honestly. They had people at 1356. Their curse had actually had an entire tier on me. That's no one's fault but my own. But again, we still did really well in that fight. The tank died 3 times. We should have been looking at this and going, the tank can actually, if the tank dies again, he's not going to have 5 sets. Just keep putting pressure on him and we can keep getting these kills and we might just win it on him running out of sets. What they did is they looked at Zotes. Zotes was very, very easy to see. Once he had 2 deaths, got that 3rd death and was a very quick kill to pick up. And honestly, they won it just because we run out of sets. We're still at 75 to 39. If he had another set, we could have gone back out, tried again, and the fights were getting closer. But guys, thank you for watching. It's been it was a good GvG. I was honestly a little tilted afterwards because I do think we could have punished the tank and the axes more, and we probably would have won this fight. But it happens. People are very, very scared to hit tanks. Unfortunately, I still don't understand why. But guys, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Catch you later.